to see people towards the end of the course that the people they were helping at the beginning and feeling very superior to and a bit smug about suddenly are blasting away. And that's because in this course, we don't really care what you know. This is not a course about what you know. It's a course about what you can do. So knowing a whole lot of stuff already is really no advantage. We're trying to give you skills so you can do cool stuff. So we'll take you all the way through and look after you. We've got very caring tutors. I selected tutors entirely based on whether I thought they were caring or not and good teachers. There were so many applicants that fitted that category that I was then able to sub-select based on academic performance. But my first criteria is the tutors have to be helpful and friendly and looking after you. And every tutor will get to know you. They will know your names within 1 or 2 weeks. They will individually care about every one of you, and they'll be talking amongst themselves, and they'll be very aware within a week or two of any students that are having problems and that need extra help, and they will bust a gut to help you. I can guarantee they are awesome, the tutors. They are really nice people. So if you're category A, do not worry. You will have to work a bit harder. You won't, I should just say, you won't have to work a bit harder to learn stuff, to learn facts. You just have to work harder to learn something that the category C people already know. And it's not anything about a language or C or computers. The thing you have to know, and you have to know it in your heart, you probably sort of think it in your head already, is that when things go wrong, you'll be able to sort them out. Now, the category C people know that because they've gone through like 20, oh, you guys can't sit on the side, you've got to sit on a seat or something. Get out of my theatre at once! No, these are second years, I've just recognised. Third year? No, second year. Well, third. Yeah. So I'm just teasing them. I wouldn't really shout at the first year saying get out. So I don't even know why they're here. Did you guys just fail last year or something and you've come back? Yeah. You failed the first lecture. There is an exam, a special exam on the first lecture. And if you fail it, you have to come back and attend the first lecture again next year. I can't remember what I was saying. Does anyone remember what I was saying? It's a quick test to you. What's that? Category C. I think I'm going to have to come back next year and do the first lecture again. That's painfully true. I will. But it's not painful. I really love giving teaching first years. In fact, I choose to teach first years. I think it's really cool. The C people, what they know, what you don't know, is that when things go wrong, you can solve it. And it's this sort of confidence. And the category C people know this because they've been programming and things have gone wrong all the time. In fact, if you wanted to characterise what computing was, it's the art of things going wrong. You will sit down and you'll write programs and things will go wrong. You'll write a program and it won't work. And you'll work out why and you'll fix it and it still won't work. And you'll work out why and you'll fix it and it still won't work. And I often think that if we took a film of someone's face in the lab, if we could only do that, it would look like this. The person would be going, thinking, a bit depressed, don't know how to start. Ah, great idea, excitement, tap, 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 ah, didn't work. Tap, 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 didn't work. Yeah. And we could like speed it really quickly. We'd like those time elapsed motions of flowers growing and things like that. And it's like, and then suddenly there's something, they'd be happy then, Computing's not this level thing, it's really peaks and troughs. There are amazing highs when you solve the problems, and there are long periods of despair when you don't solve the problems. And what the category C people know, that the A's don't yet know, and we have to try and give you, is not to give up. So things will go wrong, you will have problems, and you just have to be cheerful about it and say, it'll come right in the end. And it will. It always does. In the end, you always solve it, and what you produce is wonderful. And nothing beautiful and hard and worthwhile is ever, well, if I took the word hard out of that, nothing beautiful and worthwhile really is ever easy. You've got to work hard at stuff, but at the end, the result is really worth it. So category C people, my main advice to you, A people, my main advice to you is just persevere and stick with it. Now, how are we going with time? Is this clock correct? Is it really 11:24? Okay, cool. All right. I'm just going to race through some admin stuff really quickly because I have some actual things I want to teach you this lecture. So let's not spend too long on the admin. The reason I can afford to go through it quickly is that this week everyone has a tutorial and your tutor will look after you, will answer all your questions and will go over some of the admin stuff with you. So it's not falling between the gaps if I go over it quickly here. Admin, passwords and account. You've got a uni password and a uni account name, and your uni name probably starts with Z and there's a whole lot of digits. Is that right? And your password might be called a uni pin or a uni pass or something like that. It's got nothing to do with us. Look after that, never forget it, or weird things will happen and you won't be able to do stuff and it'll be bad. But it's got nothing to do with us. You need to know that to activate your stuff with us, but once you've activated your stuff with us, we're not using that uni stuff anymore. You'll still need it to check your results and get your transcripts and all that sort of stuff, pay your library fines. With us, you need to know your computing username and your computing password. And you get those by activating your account. And we do that in Lab 0. Now, some of you have done Lab 0 already and some haven't. Some of you might now be thinking, Lab 0? No one mentioned Lab 0 before and having a heart attack. Welcome to the land of computing. It's a land of heart attacks. There is a Lab Zero you should do. Make sure you go to this website and check it and do Lab Zero. You can do it at any time, but Lab Zero just takes you step by step through the process of setting things up, and will be really convenient for you to do it. You'll really be pleased you did. Plus, if you do it today, by the end of today, I think you still managed to get a few lab marks for it. After today, you still should do it and learn the stuff, but you won't get lab marks for it. The lab, where's David? You were sitting up somewhere. There is a Lab Zero running.
At 1 o'clock, but if you've left it today, that means you miss out on a barbecue.
No, okay, yeah, they can miss out on the barbecue, but it's more. Would you agree? It's more important to do.
Lab Zero.
Yeah, yeah, but they could pass by the barbecue, grab a sausage, and then go to Lab Zero.
Exactly.
Sausage in hand. What's that? Can't eat in the labs.
Eat really quickly.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a dilemma. It's a problem. Yeah. Okay, so Lab Zero, what it is it's a supervised lab time where you do the Lab Zero exercises and people help you. So you're welcome to do the exercises on your own. They're just on the web. You can print them out and do them on your own in your own time. But if you want to do it when someone can help you, and if you want to get the marks, because they'll tick you off at the end, turn up to the organised Lab Zero session that David is running at 1 o'clock. And it runs from when, David? 1 till?
1 till 2.
It only runs for 1 hour.
Usually it's 2, but today we can only do it 1 hour.
Okay, all right. So turn up early. And which labs are you using?
The mechatronic labs, spoons, leaf.
All the labs underneath the mechanical engineering building. And if you're not sure what you'll do, David will be here at the end of the lecture, second lecture. Follow him as he walks across. He'll go and take you over there. Everyone should do that because that'll activate your account and give you your CSE. Computing is called CSE here. Your CSE username and your CSE password. You need those to do anything in the school of computing. But there's more. 2 passwords, 2 usernames. Surely that's enough? No. We also need a username and a password for this course. Because in this course, we run our own private stuff. We run our own private forum and our own private wiki. You get to pick your password. I strongly suggest you use the same password for both of those things. Do not make it the same as your uni password or your CSE password, though, for security reasons. So you'll get a you'll generate a wiki password. You'll generate a forum password yourself. You'll do that in the labs that we run this week, in Lab 1. That's not Lab 0 that you should have done by the end of today. As you turn up to do your lab this week, they'll set up a username for you in all your accounts. Whew, that's a lot of setup stuff. Here's our homepage. If you go to it, you'll see our homepage. Go there all the time and check stuff out. Oh, how do we get there? Let's go back. In the schedule, that's where we are. Oh, that's how we got there. That was the lecture notes. Ah, okay. There's a course information page. You should read that because it contains all the information you need to know about the course. You've got to read it. It's part of your week 1 exercises to read that. But do make sure you read it. Otherwise, you might get nasty surprises later on in the course when you work out, I don't know, the project's due in at this date, but we collect all sorts of interim submissions along the way and give marks for those. If you didn't read that and find out about that, you might just hand it all in at the end, and you'd be sad that you missed some of those interim marks. And that would be terrible. So read all the subject info pages. Another link to it here, but it's also linked, course info page, it's also linked off the main thing. Really important things in that page. I thought I'd just mention a few of them in the lecture. One is lecture notes. Our lecture notes are about this quality. Cryptic bullet points. You can't study or do an exam from these lecture notes, so you will need to take your own lecture notes. But that involves writing an English expression. So, to simplify it, we have 200 people in the course. We put all our course notes on a wiki. So the idea is we all have a collective set of notes. So instead of you all writing in 200 individual sets of notes, just write your notes on the wiki. Everyone will cross-check and correct everyone else's notes. You'll see how to use the wiki in week 1. You all have a wiki exercise, which means at some point in the course, every one of you is responsible for writing the lecture notes for one of the lectures. But every one of you is responsible all the time for looking after the lecture notes. So after the lecture, go and look through the lecture notes, and if someone's written something wrong, fix it up. If there's a typo in it, fix it up. If someone explains something poorly, explain it better. Towards the end of the course, I'll look over the lecture notes too and let you know if things are going wrong, but really I'm leaving it up to you guys to police the lecture notes. So my cryptic notes, hopefully you guys are taking notes now. At least one of you should go onto the wiki and type those notes in. The student notes for this course are normally amazing. Students, you guys take the best sets of notes, and at the end of the course, reading through the wiki, you get really comprehensive, fantastic notes explained really well. So, and that's your own asset for you, for the exam. It's nothing to do with me. I delete it each year and we start again afresh for the next year. The wiki nature, let me just talk about wikis. You probably use Wikipedia. The wiki nature is you just do stuff because it's a good thing to do, to help people. because you're part of a community. So people contribute to Wikipedia not because they're paid, but because they have a bit of knowledge and they want to put it on, or they spot a typo and they want to fix it up. They like things being nice and neat. That's wiki nature. So we're not going to reward or assess or punish or anything like that people for using the wiki. Just use it as a collaborative group sort of thing. And the idea of wiki nature is we don't argue on the wiki. If you have a discussion, where should you have a discussion? If you want to have an argument with someone. On the forum, yeah, the discussion page. The wiki is for writing facts and information. So if you want to say Richard said this, say that. If Richard says something crazy about some world leader, I'm knocking the Prime Minister of Malaysia or something like that, and you don't agree with what I say, then debate it on the forum, but don't, you know, just like delete everything I say and write, no, he's a really cool guy, or if I said he was a cool guy, no, he's really corrupt and horrible. And don't do any of that stuff. I wish I hadn't said any of that. Let's just move away from Malaysia for a minute. But the idea is, let's not argue on the wiki. The wiki's for writing facts. The forum is for having discussions. You're going to take turns to write raw notes each week. Yeah, anyone that writes notes from today's lecture, just post them up on the wiki if you can work out how to. And I'll actually have a look over them and make comments and suggestions and tell you what I think of them and how good they look. And you can sort of work out how notes go. So anyone that wants tonight, or even this afternoon. Well, look, you can even do it while I'm giving the lecture. Sometimes I'm moving around on the lecture slides and people are editing the lecture slides as I'm giving the lecture, which is really amusing. You're welcome to do that. Just try not to muck things up. Textbooks. Well, for this course, normally we don't have a textbook, but at the moment there's a really good book for Learning C. I brought a copy of it here. You're welcome to look at it after the lecture. I'll leave it lying around. It's really cheap. It's written by a local Australian guy. It's really thin. I hate fat books that go for like 8 pages before you learn one thing. This is a thin, concise book. It's called Programming, Problem Solving and Abstraction with C. It's by Alistair Moffat, who's a really cool guy from down in Melbourne. So I strongly recommend you get this book. One convenient thing about having... You don't need the book. I'm never going to examine you on the book. But one convenient thing about having the book is if I explain something that doesn't make sense, you'll have an alternative, really neat parallel explanation in the book. So it's a good book. Anyone got the book already? Yeah, what do you think of it? Have you had a look?
I had a look, but didn't really understand it.
Oh, no, that's for later on. But it doesn't look fat, does it? Yeah, what did you think? How do you spell the surname? M-O-F-F-A-T. Yeah. What did you think of it?
I thought it was cheaply printed.
It is cheaply printed. It's printed with something called sprint print, which means instead of going through the normal publication process, Addison Wesley or whoever it is, Pearson, just whack it out through a cheap printer and it comes out really fast. And that's why we can sell it for like less than $100 sort of thing. Yeah, it is a cheaply printed book. That's absolutely right. But, you know, cheap and crappy is good. But actually, there's lots of expensive C books. If you want a beautiful, expensive C book, ask me. I'll bring some of my books along later on. You guys can have a look at them if anyone's after other books too. But I really recommend that book. I love that book. I think it's a good book. Labs, there are labs due every week. Your tutor will take you down to the lab and do the labs with you. You should probably try and prepare them in advance. Because we're so tight for the first couple of weeks, because your first assignment comes out at the beginning of the holidays, which is in 2 weeks' time, we've got to cover material really quick. So we might, for the first couple of weeks, have it so that the lab exercises even change throughout the week. So after Wednesday's lecture, people doing labs on Thursday and Friday, or on Thursday, and maybe even Wednesday night, might have a slightly different set of exercises. So we'll be that quick at updating exercises, just to try and get you to the point where you can do the exam as quick as possible. Assessment, OH&S, and Lecture 4. Right, assessment. The assessment for the course is very simple. 50% final exam. You have to pass the final exam to pass the course. It's not hard to pass the final exam. If you deserve to pass the final exam, you don't pass the final exam, we'll give you another exam called a supplementary exam, and we will look after you and you will be fine. If you can program, you will pass the course. There's no problem. However, if you get someone else to do all your assignments for you and you cheat like buggery and we catch you out because you fail the final exam, then you won't pass the course. That's why we have that there. So 50% for the final exam, but the rest of the course you build up the assessment as you go. There's 10% for task 1, 10% for task 2, and 20% for the final task, task 3, which we call the project. And in the project there's group work and non-group work. They're fall due and come out at various points, staggered out of the session. It's all written in the schedule when they come out and when they're due. Clear your diaries around those times. And when a computing assignment comes out, it's not perhaps like an assignment at school. It's like, I have this feeling at school that when an assignment comes out, you think, oh yeah, it's due in 2 weeks. I'll think about that on the weekend. Or if you're like my daughter, I'll think about that the night before it's due. But computing assignments are not like that. It's like they come out and you think, oh my God, I've got to start working now. And if you go home and you forget to work on it that night, you're probably doomed. Because the weird thing about computing that I sort of suggested before is that things go wrong. Even when you're not expecting it, they'll go wrong. So we set the assignments thinking, giving you 1 or 2 spare days grace. We think, oh,